The Galactic Council's main chamber floated high above the stars, a massive dome of glass and energy. Leaders from all across the galaxy sat inside. Tall ones, short ones, scaled, feathered, even glowing, all powerful, all proud, and all laughing. On the giant central screen, a fleet of only 3 ships appeared. Small, rusty, old-looking. They moved slowly, without formation. They didn't send any message. No flags. No known codes. Just silence. "Is this a joke?" asked Overlord Trinax of the Krovar Empire. His tentacles twitched with amusement. Another alien, a thick-furred creature from the Soro dynasty, chuckled. "Who sends 3 broken ships into a contested zone? Did someone lose their museum pieces?" More laughter followed. The screen zoomed in. The ships looked like something from a forgotten time. Burnt paint, mismatched metal, and no visible shields. A bored technician tapped a few keys. No match found in the database, High Council. No species ID, no galactic registration. "We believe they are from a primitive system." "That makes sense," said a lizard-like general. "Let them play. Send a cruiser. They'll surrender in seconds." But not everyone laughed. A young alien cadet named Lyra sat at the edge of the chamber, watching the feed closely. Her skin was pale blue, and her wide eyes were full of concern. "Something is wrong," she whispered. Her instructor, standing beside her, frowned. "What is it, cadet?" Lyra pointed to the movement of the ships. "They aren't using standard propulsion. Look at that turn. It's too tight for something that size. And the way they reposition. That's not primitive." The instructor shrugged. "Probably luck, or glitchy engines." But Lyra shook her head. "No, they're doing it on purpose. That's ancient tech. But it's working better than modern systems." Before anyone could respond, an alert beeped. The screen flickered as a large council battleship approached the unknown fleet. The ISS Valor, one of the strongest warships in the sector, moved in. Its captain sent a warning. "This is ISS Valor. Identify yourself. You are entering protected council space. Leave or be fired upon." No answer. The tiny ships kept moving, slow and steady. "Final warning," the captain said. Still no reply. Inside the chamber, the council chuckled again. "Fools," muttered one. "This will be over in seconds." The battleship powered its weapons. But before it could fire, one of the small rusty ships did something strange. Its lights flickered, then glowed a cold blue. No weapons were seen. No sounds were made. A beam of light flashed, silent and fast. And the mighty ISS Valor simply stopped. Not exploded, not broken, just frozen. Alarms screamed inside the council chamber. "What just happened?" shouted one of the high leaders. "Get the camera closer," barked another. The screen zoomed in. The battleship was still there, but now dark, lifeless. No lights, no movement. Its engines were dead, its weapons offline. Thousands of crew members were aboard, and now trapped. "They didn't destroy it," Lyra whispered. "They disabled it, perfectly." Gasps filled the room. A technician checked the data again, fingers shaking. "Council, I have something. The energy signature from that beam. It matches a very old pattern. Almost impossible to detect. It hasn't been seen in over 500 years. "What pattern?" asked the trembling voice. The technician turned pale. "Human." The word echoed like thunder. Human. Every being in the chamber froze. For a long time, no one spoke. Humans were a ghost story, a myth, a name spoken in fear and warning. Once, long ago, they had spread across the stars like wildfire. Powerful, clever, ruthless when needed, but fair. They had led peace talks, stopped wars, and even ended empires. But then, they vanished. No one knew why. Some said a disease. Others claimed they went into hiding. A few believed they destroyed themselves. But now, here they were. Back. And they weren't speaking. They were acting. Lyra looked around the chamber. The leaders were no longer laughing. Some were whispering. Others were sweating. One even reached for a panic button. A voice came through the feed. Cold, calm, human. "This is a protected zone. Leave. Nothing more. No anger. No threats. Just a simple command." One of the council members spoke softly. That's not just any fleet. Sir, that's human technology. Silence took over. The joke was over, and the galaxy had just remembered why humans were never to be mocked. Panic spread through the Galactic Council chamber like fire. The room, which had been full of laughter just minutes ago, was now filled with shocked silence. Eyes were wide. Mouths were dry. Even the oldest, most powerful leaders sat frozen in fear. The three small ships, once called a joke, now floated in silence near the dead ISS Valor. They hadn't moved. They hadn't followed up with another attack. They were just watching. "Replay that shot," said High Commander Velker, his voice shaky. The screen lit up again. Slow motion. The moment the human ship fired. No blast. No missile. Just a blue beam. Clean, quiet, and perfect. It had hit the battleship's core systems with stunning precision. "This kind of targeting is impossible," whispered a Soro technician. "Even our best ag can't do that. Not without a dozen scans, warnings, and time." "But they did it instantly," said another voice. "Like they've done it before. Many times." And that was the fear. Because no one really knew what had happened to the humans. Thousands of years ago, they had ruled sectors far beyond the core systems. They were explorers, scientists, warriors. But then, without warning, they disappeared from known space. Their colonies went dark. Their ships vanished. Their communication signals stopped. Some believed the humans died out. Some believed they had hidden themselves for a reason. Now, it looked like they were back. "Why now?" asked General Scran, claws tapping the desk. "Why here? Why reveal themselves after all these years?" Cadet Lyra, still watching from her seat, spoke quietly. "Because we stepped too close. That sector has no official claim. But maybe it belongs to them. They can't just take it," barked an old commander. "Would you like to tell them that?" asked another, voice cold. The chamber went quiet again. The council sent a second cruiser to the edge of the sector. But this time, it didn't get close. It stopped miles away and began to scan the three mysterious ships. Data poured in: old-style armor, strange coding, power signatures that didn't match anything modern. But the strangest thing, the ships were not made from one type of metal. Their outer layers were built from different parts, some from war debris, others from lost satellites, even pieces of asteroids. But underneath, deep in the core, was something far more advanced. "Neutron-forged alloys," gasped one scientist. "The kind that can only be made near black holes." Only one species had ever managed to build factories near black holes. Humans. The second cruiser backed away. No warning was given this time. No one wanted to risk another mistake. Inside the council chamber, leaders started whispering. Some wanted to contact the ships. Others wanted to prepare for war. One bold voice spoke up. "If they're back, they might be few. We should strike now, before they rebuild." But Lyra turned around, eyes sharp. "That wasn't a weapon for war. That was a warning, and we already failed the test." A pause. Then new footage arrived from an old scout satellite, one that had been lost years ago. It had been orbiting a dead planet near the sector. Someone, or something, reactivated it. It was now sending strange signals. The video feed clicked on. A single massive ship, 10 times bigger than any in the Council's fleet, rose from the shadows of the planet's moon. Ancient, black, covered in glowing red lines like veins. Not a fleet, a supercarrier, and on its hull, a symbol long forgotten by most of the galaxy. Earth Command. The Council erupted into chaos, shouting, arguments, threats. "They've been here the whole time," Lyra whispered, "watching, waiting." "Do we send diplomats?" asked a counselor. "Do we hide?" asked another. But the truth was clear to all of them now. Humanity had never left. They had simply been quiet. And now they had chosen to speak, not with words, but with power. The galaxy held its breath. All across space, news spread like wildfire. 3 strange ships had appeared in the contested zone and destroyed a Galactic Council battleship without a single word. Now, even more footage had surfaced. The massive black supercarrier, silent and ancient, had awakened near a dead moon. Its surface was covered in strange marks. Not battle scars, but symbols. Human symbols. Old Earth language. Lost tech patterns. For most of the galaxy, It was the first time they had ever seen a ship from Earth Command. Inside the Council's war room, dozens of alien races argued in panic. Send peace envoys. Prepare every fleet we have. They only sent 3 ships, and one of them destroyed the Valor like it was paper. But the most important question remained. Where are the rest of them? The answer came just hours later. Out of nowhere, ancient satellites all across the outer sectors powered back on. These satellites were believed to be space junk, floating for centuries without function. Now, they were broadcasting. Not words, not pictures. Coordinates. And then they came. From asteroid fields, deep nebula, and forgotten warp lanes, ships began to rise. First a dozen, then hundreds, then thousands. Old human warships, some new in design, others older than any living species could remember, began to form ranks. Some were scared from past battles. Some were built with metal the galaxy had never seen before. But every ship had one thing in common. They were flying under the Earth Command symbol. The Ghost Fleet, a name whispered in myths and lost records, was real, and it was awakening. From a hidden moon base, a human voice spoke for the first time in millennia. The audio echoed through the comms of every council ship nearby. This sector is under Earth protection. Further trespass will be seen as aggression. Simple, cold, final. The voice didn't shout. It didn't threaten. It didn't beg. It simply declared. Inside the council war room, one of the admirals trembled. How? How many do they have? The answer came from Cadet Lyra, still seated in silence, studying the broadcasts. She looked up, voice soft but sharp. They're not just showing strength, they're showing patience. That's more terrifying. The council didn't understand. She continued. Humans disappeared for thousands of years. And now, instead of attacking, they're revealing their fleet one layer at a time. They're not trying to crush us. They're warning us. Counselor Varnek slammed his fist on the table. Why warn us at all? Why not strike first? Lyra replied, because they don't see us as a threat. Silence again. Then the galaxy watched in horror as one of the largest alien warfleets, sent without council permission, jumped into the contested sector. Over 80 ships, all heavily armed, commanded by the arrogant and war-hungry Tvar Dominion. The message was clear. They were going to test the humans. The Ghost Fleet didn't move. At first. Then, one human destroyer moved forward. Its engines lit up with a strange, silent glow. The design looked ancient, but the speed, the precision, was unnatural. Without firing a single shot, the destroyer disappeared and reappeared in the middle of the enemy fleet. Within seconds, the entire Tuvar fleet lost power. Lights died. Engines failed. Shields fell. One by one, the Tuvar ships began to drift, powerless and defeated, without a single explosion. Then came another broadcast. This was your warning. Earth protects its silence. Do not come again. The broadcast ended. The Tuvar ships were later found still floating, crew alive but systems locked. Every weapon had been deactivated without damage, every missile removed from its bay. It was like a ghost had passed through them, and simply turned the war off. Back in the council chambers, no one laughed anymore. No one spoke. The Ghost Fleet had risen, and the galaxy had no idea how long it had been watching. The galaxy was no longer laughing. The name human now echoed across every news channel, every war room, every star station. They weren't myths anymore. They weren't extinct. They were watching, and they were stronger than ever. After the silent destruction of the Tumvar fleet, fear spread through every major system. Entire races stopped their expansion plans. War exercises were canceled. Military leaders froze all long-distance scouting missions. Because now, the question wasn't, are humans dangerous? The question was, how much do they already control? Inside the Galactic Council, panic turned into paranoia. We need to study them. Where have they been? What have they been building all this time? Demanded High General Trock. Some thought Earth had been destroyed thousands of years ago. Others believed the humans had fled the galaxy entirely. But now, it seemed they had been hiding in plain sight. Deep in the old archives, a forgotten race called the Archivists was summoned. They were record keepers, neutral and ancient. They had data on everything, especially lost civilizations. A wrinkled archivist named Vold appeared before the council. He carried scrolls, old tech pads, and strange recordings. He spoke slowly. "We warned you long ago. When Earth fell silent, we told you, they are not gone. They are waiting." He placed an old recording on the table. Static at first, then a voice. "If you hear this message, it means we chose silence. We will return when the stars forget us, and when the galaxy forgets fear." The room fell still. The council had forgotten, but Earth had not, and now, the return had begun. Meanwhile, in a quiet research lab far from the capital world, Cadet Lyra studied the human supercarrier's movement. It didn't follow any known patrol patterns. It didn't protect territory. It simply hovered, waiting. Every hour, more human ships appeared, but none made the first move. They let the galaxy see them. They let fear grow. And then, something terrifying happened. One of the border colonies, a mining outpost belonging to the wealthy Kuran Empire, suddenly lost all communication. No explosions, no damage, just silence. When rescue ships arrived, they found every system shut down, every door locked, every soldier asleep. Not dead, not hurt, just put into a deep artificial sleep. And on the colony walls, scratched into steel in ancient Terran letters, "We are not your enemy, but we will not be mocked." The message was not just a warning. It was a line in the stars. Back at the council, Volv the archivist spoke again. "You must understand, humans do not want war. They never did. But when they fight for survival. They fight to end things." Counselor Varnak growled. "Then what do we do now?" "Beg." Volv shook his head. "You listen. You remember. And you prepare. Because when the humans finally speak again," he looked around, his voice like ice, "it will be the last word anyone hears." And as he said that, new footage arrived, taken from the edge of the known galaxy. A strange object, the size of a small moon, was moving. Not a ship, not a station, but something worse. Something ancient. Something marked with Earth Command's deepest symbol. Judgment Division. Class 0. And it was heading toward the Council Core worlds. The silence was over. The storm was coming. The calm before the storm was shattered. The strange object, huge, dark, and silent, closed in on the Galactic Council's core worlds. It moved with a power no one could explain. They called it the Judgment Division. This was no ordinary ship. It was a weapon, a fortress, a warning. The Council scrambled to prepare defenses, but their fleets were scattered and nervous. No one knew what the Judgment Division could do. Suddenly, the massive ship appeared in orbit above the capital world. The sky darkened as its giant cannons powered up. Every council member watched live as the ship opened a single massive hatch. From it, dozens of smaller ships, sleek, fast, and deadly, launched into space. Humans, light strike fighters, pilots with calm faces and steady hands. They did not shout. They did not panic. They moved with silent precision. The council's fleets tried to intercept, but the fighters were too fast, too smart, too organized. One by one, council warships fell behind or vanished without a fight. Inside the council chamber, panic was total. "This is an invasion," shouted Counselor Varnak. But Cadet Lyra shook her head. "No, it's a message." The Judgment Division itself did not attack. Instead, it sent a broadcast. "Galactic Council, you ignored our warnings. You mocked our silence. Now, Earth's Judgment Division demands respect. Withdraw all forces from contested zones. Cease all hostile acts, or face destruction." The voice was calm, cold, final. The council debated. Some wanted to fight, others wanted to surrender. But the humans waited. Days passed with no further attacks. Then, without warning, the Judgment Division fired a warning shot. A massive council battleship exploded into dust, far from the front lines. The message was clear. They were serious. Fear turned into respect. The Galactic Council finally understood. Humans were not just a forgotten species. They were a power, a force that had returned to shape the galaxy. And they were ready to judge. The Galactic Council's fear had turned into urgent action. They scrambled their fleets, tried to send diplomats, and hoped to avoid full war. But the Judgment Division was not interested in talks. It was time to act. The massive ship released hundreds of human strike fighters and cruisers into the contested zones. Every move was precise. Every target chosen carefully. No unnecessary damage. No civilian world harmed. But every military base, every warship, every weapon cache that posed a threat to Earth Command was destroyed. The galaxy was watching in shock. The humans were not fighting for conquest. They fought for order. Back on the capital world, council leaders argued fiercely. We must surrender or be wiped out. No, we must fight back. We cannot show weakness. Amid the chaos, Cadet Lyra sat quietly, watching the feeds. She knew something others missed. The humans were sending a message, not just with weapons, but with timing. They wanted the council to feel their power without total destruction. Then came a broadcast, clearer and louder than ever before. We did not come to rule. We came to protect, to remind the galaxy, respect life, respect peace, or face the consequences. The council realized the truth. Humanity's return was not just about revenge or power. It was a warning, a test, a chance. If the galaxy chose peace, the humans might become their strongest ally. If not, the reckoning would be complete. The final choice was theirs. The countdown had begun. The galaxy stood at a crossroads. The Galactic Council faced a choice: surrender to humanity's demands or risk total destruction. Counselors argued day and night. Some feared losing control. Others feared losing everything. Meanwhile, the humans did not wait. Earth's fleets patrolled quietly but firmly, making sure no further attacks came. Cadet Lyra watched as peaceful planets sent messages, asking for human protection. Slowly, hope grew. A meeting was called, this time between humans and the council. The council chamber, once filled with laughter and mockery, was now tense with respect. The human ambassador spoke clearly. We do not want war. We want peace, but peace with respect. Many in the council listened. Many still feared. But something had changed. The humans had shown their power. They had shown their will. They had reminded the galaxy. Underestimating humanity was a grave mistake. The decision came. The council agreed to new peace terms. Humans would join the Galactic Coalition, but on their own rules. The galaxy watched as a new chapter began. A chapter where humans were no longer a joke. Where humanity's tiny fleet was a legend. Where respect was earned, or forced. And somewhere deep in space, Cadet Lyra smiled. Because the galaxy had learned a powerful lesson. Never underestimate the quiet ones.